So we are live on Facebook and YouTube. I see we're live on TikTok on my iPad, and I'm about to go live on my phone on Instagram. We are in episode 16. For those of you who have not been in the scene and paying attention, we are pretty much doing spotlights of the vendors that will be on my show this Sunday, July 13th from 6 to 8. I have an awesome group of young ladies who I was very intentional about picking them to be on my show. So as much as I want to get into church announcements, I'm going to wait until probably the last, because I'm doing three of these sessions today. So well, possibly three. And when I do the last one, I'll get into announcements and whatnot. But right now, I just want to get into our guest who I met her through her husband, Terrence P. Elmore, who is a fellow poet, a fellow author. And immediately what I noticed about her, not only her fabulous, beautiful self, but these earrings. And she's like, yeah, it's clay, by the way. And I said, okay. So then started following her. So if you haven't noticed already, these were made by her. I have at least 2 pair by her. No, 4 if you include the pair that came this week. So, and I always get a lot of compliments on her. Nicole, thank you so much for joining our show today. And I just, like I told you, want to highlight your awesomeness. So how did you get into making earrings?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. It's exciting. I'm excited about your show on Sunday. But how did I get into making earrings? I've always loved accessories. Growing up, I always believed that accessories would make your outfit pop. So I always kept accessories. And I would say right during the pandemic or after the pandemic, I started following different makers on Instagram. And I noticed that they were making these pieces and they just kept saying polymer clay, it's made by clay, it's made out of clay. And I started ordering different pieces from different makers because I just was like, I just got to see how this feels. I mean, it's clay, it's bright. So, and they kept saying it was lightweight and all that stuff. So I ordered a couple of pairs because what I wanted to do at first was I was interested in like photography, doing flat lays, and I would like to put like different outfits together. And then I wanted to like support the makers, purchase their pieces and include them in my flat lays and tag them like that. So I ordered from a couple of makers. And then after that, like after my second or third pair, I was just like, oh, this is so cool. I'm going to do the flat lays or whatever. And then I heard God told me one day, he was like, no, you're not. You're going to make your own pieces. And I was like, wait, hold on. I'm going to do what? I said, what? He was like, oh, no, you can do this. And so I reached out to a couple of makers, just let them know I was interested in, starting to make my own. And so they directed me to like different videos to begin to watch. And so I went to Michael's and I purchased like maybe 3 blocks of clay, some cutters and other tools that I needed. And I made like 2 pairs and they came out blah. They weren't good. And I was like, oh, no, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this. And then after a while, it was like, no, I'm going to try again. And so the more I began to do it, the more I started getting used to the clay, how to kind of manipulate it and do different things with it. And so I started wearing them. I started wearing my pieces at work. And I had a young lady who worked with me. And she was like, oh, my gosh, your earrings are beautiful. And I was like, I made these. And Natasha is her name. And she just was like, oh, my gosh, the next couple of pairs you make, please let me see them because I would like to purchase them. And that's how it started.
So you said something very important that I need people to hear. So you made your first pair. You did not think it was I didn't hear God work, right?
No.
So what kept you to keep going? Because obviously you didn't quit because we are where we are now. So despite you feeling like, okay, I don't think this is it, what kept you going?
I wanted to really push myself because a lot of times, like in the past, I would start stuff and stop. But when it came to the earrings, it was like I had like a passion for it. Like even though the first 2 pairs didn't come out good, it was like I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to just push it aside and be like, all right, I'll just do something else. I'm not going to worry about that. It was just something inside of me saying, try another time, do it
Mhm.
again, get some more clay, keep working at it. And that's what I did. And like after the third or fourth pair came out, and I was like, okay. And then once I did that and I started getting the tools that I needed, that's
Hmm.
what made the difference. So once I got the tools that I needed, the cutters that I needed, the what is it? The machine that I use to I can't think of it right now.
Okay.
But it's like a tool that I use for, like the piercings and different stuff like that. After
Mhm.
I started getting the material and the tools that I needed, it started to really change how my earrings were coming out. So
That is super dope. And I just want to harp on that point because one thing I want to say, Shatoya from Decadent Desserts also shared is how she wasn't sure how she knew it wasn't perfect, but she kept going
yeah.
anyway. And it's very important when you have an idea that has been dropped or God tells you directly, this is what you need to do. You need to go with it. And it's not going to be perfect right away. It's not going to make sense right away.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I wrote my first book, I felt some type of way about it because I remember hearing a famous author saying your first book will not get published.
Oh.
Well, luckily for me, and she wasn't telling me this, she was saying with her experience with a publisher. Well, I ended up going on the route of self-publishing, so it worked out for me. Nevertheless, we have to make sure we don't get caught up in ourselves to prevent ourselves from making decisions that could potentially, and I can't even say potentially, the fact that you heard God tell you,
yes,
this is what you need to do, despite how it looked at first, it's guaranteed to be a success. It's guaranteed. When they say he gives you the power to get wealth, that's one of those ways that people forget sometimes. And when he tells us to do something, it's something in that. It's something in our purpose that's going to do something that's going to yield great harvest, great results. So how do you, and a matter of fact, and while I'm thinking about it, Chriso, he said, hey, with multiple Y's. Those of you on TikTok who are watching me, if you want to follow Nicole, she is on Facebook and Instagram. It's Clay by the Way, and then she has a Square site. Make sure you check her out. I am one of those ones. I think every once in a while I will check to see what she has. So, a matter of fact, one of the pieces I'm wearing for the show, I got with her to customize it with my outfit because I told people I'm going to be comfortably chic. But anybody knows anything about me, my earrings are always on point, always on point. And she is definitely that person to take your accessory to another level. So how, besides them going on your Square site, how else do you get your products out there?
Through Instagram. I'm on Instagram at It's Clay by the Way, and also on Facebook.
Okay.
And then I also have like a email list that when you go on the website, you join the list, and I will send out like different announcements throughout the month of different drops that I have.
That is super dope. So what would you recommend? Like if someone wanted, like you mentioned Facebook, you mentioned Instagram, you mentioned the Clay. What made you go with the Square site? I've mentioned that too in some posts I've done. What made you go with the Square site?
With Square, it was just easier to kind of just work with. It was simple. It's nothing hidden. You can just get to, and I thought about, my customers who are going to be on the site. I just wanted it to be easy for them to be able to go in and see what they want, put it in their cart, check out with no problems. So I've been using Square. I've had It's Clay by the Way now going on 3 years in September, and I've always used Square, and I haven't had any issues with them.
Okay. And I'm an advocate of Square too. Like I have a website with a web developer, but then in order for them to buy books from me, I ended up going through Square site. And I will say Square will offer you a free site, and then there's different levels if you pay for it.
Yes.
They will offer more perks with it. So if you are selling products, whether it's a book, whether it's earrings, I would do your research and look at Square and see what options you can use for now for free and then upgrade it as you go. But you definitely want to have a point outside of social media, which I applaud you on, so people can access and buy your products. So I saw a major announcement today that I want you to toot your horn. That is major, but
it is major.
People.
It is major. So, a couple of weeks ago, probably like a month ago, well, ever since last year, I started communicating with the International African American Museum in Charleston about being a vendor and getting my pieces inside of the museum. And they, about probably around April or May, contacted me and we set up a virtual meeting that I actually went down there and met with them. And took some of my pieces. They invited me to come back to bring some of my pieces so they can see my pieces. And after the meeting, they took me on as a vendor. So now it's Clay by the Way. It's Clay by the Way. It can be purchased at the International African American Museum in Charleston, South Carolina.
That is so huge.
It is so huge.
Oh my gosh. Like when I saw the post, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so awesome. And for those of you who have not been to the International Museum in Charleston, you need to go. It is not a one-day trip. No. It is not a one-day visit. But what I like about African American museums, period, is they make it a point. I know the Harvey B. Gantt Museum in Charlotte, they make it a point to have Black authors, Black products. Like they make it a point that in their gift shop, they're supporting someone locally.
Yes.
So when I saw her post, I was like, oh my gosh, I need y'all to get on that. So when you go to the International Museum with your family, make sure you stop in the shop and get something. And even if you don't, matter of fact, and if you don't want to wait, go on her website. I'm gonna put her there again. Go to the site.
Yeah.
Again, you can go to. She's on Instagram and she's on Facebook. It's Clay by the Way.
Yeah.
And then with her website, it's claybytheway.square.site.
Yes.
So go there and get your products. She has awesome things. She uploads new, and that's one thing I've noticed. You don't have the same, like, that's a good question I just thought about. Mm-hmm. You don't keep the same thing. So what is your, I guess, your creative flow, or why do you think you do that?
Because I don't want it to, like when you go to stores or you go online, it's just like a lot of the same thing. Mm-hmm. So when I do my drops and I make my pieces, like even for the International African American Museum, they wanted a certain amount of Juneteenth pieces and then other miscellaneous pieces. And that was the first time that I ever made over 6 pieces of the same thing. So that was very different for me. But when I do my drops and I come up with my pieces, I usually do about 5 or 6 of the same thing because I just want, I want you to be able to get it when you get it. And if you don't have to worry about everybody having the same thing. Exactly. So that's what I like. I just like, being different. And some like, even with me, some of the pieces that I do make, they don't make it to the website. Like I just make like just one of that piece, So I do it just like I said, I might do 5 or 6 of the same things. And then after that, I'm going to something new. And a lot of times it doesn't repeat itself unless I have someone who actually reaches out to me and said, hey, I really want the ones that dropped a couple of weeks ago. They're sold out. So what do I need to do? And if I still have the material left, then I can not duplicate, but I can get you close to the pair that you want. So
that's awesome. Because I just realized that because it was a certain pair I wanted and I waited, I think, a little bit too long and it wasn't there. But I noticed every time I check your site, it's definitely a different style, a different color scheme. Yeah. So I just wanted to know behind that. So if someone wanted to get into jewelry making or using clay, what are some of the things they definitely need to do or have? And I guess where are some of the best places to get it, if you don't mind sharing?
I don't mind sharing. Well, the first thing you need is the clay. I purchased my clay from Michael's, and because you can get like coupons with them, and they send like different emails with percentage off, and so that really helps when you purchase your material. But definitely, you will need your clay. Also cutters in Michael's, like if you're just starting, in Michael's, they have like these metal cutters and you could get like different shapes and sizes. Just get a pack of those just so that you can just have like some type of base. And like once you get into it, creating, like with me, I would just buy the cutters from the stores. But once I got into really making the pieces, I started purchasing them offline from different makers who sell personalized cutters or, different shapes. Because with my pieces, and, a lot of time people are like, you don't have anything smaller. And I try to make them smaller, but I like big pieces. I like
Mhm.
bone. I like them big. And the reason why I like them big is because they're so lightweight. So
Mhm.
you don't have to worry about your ears, drooping or just having all that other stuff going on when you wear bold, big pieces. So just like I said, I try to do the smaller pieces. I'll do those on some of the drop, but for the most part, my pieces are big. They're big,
Mhm.
they're bold, they're colorful. But I would say just start off with like your clay, your cutters. You're going to get you some jump rings and your post, or if you're going to do hooks, and just start there. And the
Mhm.
more you do it, the more you'll learn. Like you can add different things to your clay. You can add foil. You can add like ink coloring. There's so much stuff that you can do with clay.
Mhm.
But if you're just starting off and you just want to get your hands in it and just try it, just get you a couple blocks of clay from Michael, polymer clay. They're in the like the section where the resin and all of that stuff is.
Mhm.
Just get you a couple of blocks of clay, get you a pack of cutters, and you also I use a clay machine that rolls my clay out. It's like a pasta machine. But if you're just starting, they have like these acrylic rollers. Get you a roller and you just start off just hand rolling and get it to the size you want and just go from there. And
Mhm.
just make yourself a couple of pairs and then just start wearing them. And then yeah,
Mhm.
that's how I
Like,
started.
and again, it's so important to where if you have products, make it available so some people can see it and know what's going on.
Yeah.
And again, that's again how she definitely got my attention because we were at an event that both me and her husband were performing at, and I noticed her earrings right away.
Mhm.
So if you're definitely someone where you make things, and whether it's clothes, whether it's a belt, accessories, you should be out. You're a walking advertisement. So
Yes. Yes.
oh my gosh. So um, tell us a little about your background and where you're from.
Well, I am from Charleston, South Carolina, born and raised in Charleston. We moved to Columbia probably about 4 years ago. Um, let's see. I am an only child. I'm very close with my family. I'm very close to my family. I have a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles. Me and my cousins, we grew up as brothers and sisters. So I never really felt that only child aloneness, even though I like my alone time because I am
Mhm.
an only child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I graduated from St. Andrews High School, Go Rocks. And I went to Voorhees and Denmark Tech for probably like a semester and a half or so. But then I moved back to Charleston, went to cosmetology school, got my cosmetology license. Then I worked inside of a salon for a couple of years. And then after that, I just got out of it.
Mm.
And now I work for the VA, and I've been doing that now for the last 9 years. So it's clay, by the way, is my hobby,
Mhm.
which is it's not my hobby. That's my passion.
I
That's what
have
I
to
love.
correct you on that. I
That's
was
that's what I love to do. It's not my hobby, but that's what I do to just kind of hmm, just
Mhm.
breathe and just get creative with the clay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how are you able to balance your work life or your personal life with your orders? Like working that, do you have to make sure you have a certain schedule? Do
Mhm.
you have certain days where you like, what is your schedule like to help maintain that balance? Or
Well,
I would say blending it all in.
well, I usually, especially when it comes to my drops, I usually drop on Wednesday.
Mhm.
So it's mostly weekend work. Like
Okay.
I work starting like probably like Thursday evening,
Mhm.
Friday evenings, all day Saturday and Sunday to get ready for a drop. When I have my orders, I will get them packed and ready in the afternoons when I get home. And then after I do a drop, I have to take some time just to kind of back up a little and just kind of breathe
Mhm.
because sometimes it gets overwhelming. So
Mhm.
I have to make sure that I just have that time my free time just to be like, okay, that's it for right now.
Mhm.
And even like with the order for the International African American Museum, like I didn't do any drops during that time. And
Mhm.
that's why when I did come back, I let everybody know, like, hey, I know I was gone for a minute, but it
Mhm.
was a good reason.
Mhm.
Okay. I was working on my first, this is my first wholesale order of the year. So and that's what my focus was on, to get those pieces done and get those pieces to them.
And communication is key. Like in reality, we know life happens, but when you
Yeah.
have people making orders and whatnot, or people reaching out to you, it's nothing wrong with reaching out. There is an unnamed person. I don't even know the name of the actual person, but there was someone who I used to follow on Instagram who I ordered. They would have these random sales, and I ordered
Mhm.
something. I never received my stuff, and
Oh
I
no.
contacted them, emailed them, did everything that was on their Instagram, and never got anything. So it
Oh
was just like,
no.
I need y'all to let me know. But I'll never forget when I ordered this black owned brand called Kobe's, Kobee. It makes
Mhm.
lip balm. And I never
Yes.
forget when, yeah, it is so good. It is so
Yeah.
good. So I never forget, he was running behind. He sent an email. We're running behind. We have a lot more orders than we anticipated, but just know your order is on the way. Like little stuff like that matters.
It
And it
does
goes a
matter.
long way.
Yeah, it does matter because I know with me, like even when I ordered things offline and
Mhm.
I'm checking and looking like, okay, that was about a week ago. That's about 2 weeks ago. What's up? What's going on? Where's my email? And when I
Yeah.
don't have anything, I'm like, come on now. So I try to be very intentional when it comes to me. If I'm like offline for a while or you don't see me posting for a while, I try to make sure to come back and be like, hey, I'm still here. This is what I have going on. But don't worry, new drop loading next week. So yeah, you have to communicate. And that's one thing that I found out about being, in this business in having is clay by the way, that you have to talk to your people because that's how
Mhm.
you keep them there. Like I've had people email me like, hey, I got my package and there was something broken or one of the pieces came off. No
Mhm.
problem. You don't have to mail those back. I got you. I'm sending you another pair. And
Exactly.
that makes a difference, that how people keep coming back and just, thank you, because customer service is above everything to me. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to make sure that everyone's good when it comes to when I'm providing the service I'm providing.
Because one thing, like when people talk about is so many people out there, that's why people don't want to jump into it. But that's why, more importantly, why you have to be on your point with your customer service,
Yeah,
because there's so many people out there. If they see you willing to work with you, they see you have quality products, they're willing to stick with you and stay with you. Because some people, sadly, you make one mistake and they're done and they're over it because of so many people out there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just so important to engage and to keep up with different people. Those of you who are watching on TikTok, it is called ITS Clay by the way on Instagram and on Facebook. And then her square site is it's clay by the way .square.site. If you want to follow her and see the awesome things that she has going on. And hey, Alyssa. So one of my former students logged on Instagram. But I truly, truly, truly appreciate you taking the time to sit with us.
Yes.
Again, I was very intentional about the people that I invited to vendor at my event, because one thing I noticed, some people you can tell you're just trying to collect a check on vending fees, and then it's not, people are not making money. So I was very intentional. Like once I had one person who made earrings, I didn't bring anybody else who made earrings.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's definitely going to be a time. So even though, keep in mind the doors open at 6, but the show doesn't start till 6:40. And even though I told them that they will have a moment right before, when a storm performs, they'll be allowed to go on the mic and briefly talk about their products for like a minute or so. I wanted to go into the history of who they are, the journey of where they are, because hopefully you seeing these podcasts that you will definitely be inspired to follow your dreams. I want to say I had a comment earlier. Terrence commented, "Let's go, ladies." So it's encouraging people to break through, because the reality is, if more people would hear stories like these, They
Mm-hmm.
will get out of their head. They will get out of perfection mode and just realize, let me just go with it and see what happens and just flow with it. And the reality is you don't have to be locked into something that you don't enjoy. You're doing something like you can tell you genuinely
I do.
enjoy making these earrings. Like this is a passion of yours. And I
I
believe
do.
God, it just won't be a hobby for you.
No, it's not a hobby.
Yes, yes. So
I love doing it.
yeah. So y'all, again, it's Play by the Way on Instagram and I'm gonna say TikTok. It's Play by the Way on Facebook and Instagram, and then you can access her Square site. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that's pretty much it. So I was hoping some people had some questions, but I don't see any in the chat.
Okay.
So, but again, tickets, the last day tickets will go on sale for the show is tomorrow. I think at 11:59 p.m. tickets will not be on sale, but you can buy your ticket at the door. So one thing I told somebody, I think it was Brittany Shy Moonlight who's hosting. I truly think what is happening is God is just setting me up.
There you go.
Yeah, because y'all don't want to pay the discounted price. Y'all want to pay the $20, which is $5 extra on each ticket. I feel you, God. I take it. I receive it. So you could definitely buy your tickets at the door. I have some former Roses who I mentor. They're going to be working the door, so they'll have an account for how many people have paid. So we'll know how many people and how many seats we have left. The last time I checked, we can fit between 60 to 75. I'm expecting 60 people to show up. So this Sunday from 6 to 8 at Rock Bottom Studios. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put up the flyer so y'all can see it. And I'm going to put up a different flyer. So I'm going to have Ace Sage is going to be singing with me. Rod Foster is going to be playing behind me. Winter Storm is opening up for me. And Shy Moonlight is hosting. And then we have a host of vendors. Again, Rock Bottom Studios, 7355 Garners Ferry Road. I could not remember the name of the church, but it's Word of God Ministries off of Garners Ferry. They have a huge plaza when you come off of 77 onto Garners Ferry, or when you're coming to Garners Ferry, right after you pass by the huge Woodlawn Cemetery on the right, you keep going down. There's a Kentucky Fried Chicken, and behind all that in the Pizza Hut is a huge plaza, and that's where we will be. Our other vendors are Pasta to Go, so you can come and get your grub on. It is very good. Me and Joshua inhaled it. So my son, which is a 19-year-old boy. So Pasta to Go, the Margarita Mason will be there. Matter of fact, she's coming on the podcast later on this evening. She'll be making mocktails. Then you have Naima Whitted. Naima Whitted is the illustrator of my 2 children's books. So she's going to bring her artwork there to sell, along with Taylor Simon from Liberation is Lit, who is known for selling all things books. She may have some t-shirts too. And then you have Morike, which I know I'm mispronouncing her name. She will also be there with her body butters and her African soap. She has an African soap body wash that she makes. And a host of other products. And then, of course, Shatoya White with Infinite Arrays Decadent Desserts. I'm telling y'all, she already said she may not have the pound cake, but I told her if she had that key lime pie, we are on point. So bowls that she makes, I already know before she even gets set up, I'm gonna tell her to put one to the side for me, because it is good. So you want to have your face in the place. I'm already believing God to do another one probably in September, and we'll decide from there the details and all that. So I would love to see y'all there. I look forward to seeing y'all there. I just realized I never put up my social media, so you can find me everywhere at my name, Ryan N. Jenkins, on TikTok, Instagram. I'll admit you add a number 1 on the end in PEN, PEN, and then on X you're going to add a 1. And pretty much if you go to my website, it will lead you to all my social medias, including YouTube. So I greatly appreciate y'all tuning in with me.
Yes.
And please know that I will be back on at, what time is it? 6:30. I will be back on with Malika Daniels who's the Margarita Mason, and then possibly at 7:30 with Morike, which we are still figuring that out. But either way, y'all don't go away too far, because I'm gonna be right back on. So y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Let me make sure I actually click. That is not working. Hold on, because I'm still live.